Hi guys, it's time for me to tell you about Johannesburg. Now Johannesburg I think gets a bit of a bad rep. People think it's really dangerous and I didn't feel like that at all really. I walked home from a club one night and in the middle of the evening and had no issue with it. You know, it does look intimidating because of all the high walls and the fences and the signs saying we've got private security and whatnot. But you know, as long as you're sensible, and maybe it's because I'm a guy as well, I didn't feel too bad. So that, you know, I think it gets a bit of a bad rep. Now I split my time in Johannesburg over 2 weeks, and that's because I went home for Christmas to surprise my mum, and I'll do a different video on that whole trip back. But I split between Boksburg, which is on the outskirts, and that was a good point for me to go to the Kruger National Park. I went to another lion park as well, and also did a tour from there around Johannesburg itself. I then moved on from Boksburg into Rosebank, and Rosebank is much more in the middle of things. It's by the Rosebank Mall, which is one of the bigger malls, and has lots of things if you're looking to get presents or you just want to have a bit more of a Western normality, which I did, especially after coming from Cameroon. Then that sort of puts you straight in it. And also there they had the Magnum store, which I'll go into in all its deliciousness. And it's also near the Gautrain, which takes you straight up to the airport and is really reliable, really nice and clean and modern. And yeah, it also goes up to Pretoria, which I didn't manage to do, but I would have done had I had the time. So I'll take you through those now, and hopefully you enjoy them. And you know, if you like any things, I'll make sure I leave links both on the blog and in the description of the YouTube. So do, you know, check those things out, especially the MBZ Lodge, which is where I stayed in Boksburg. They look after you so well. Patrick, the owner, will look after you like family. So I definitely check that out.
So I took a 3-night, 4-day safari straight from Boksburg, and as you can see here, the accommodation was fantastic. This was outside in the national park, and on the first night we took a sunset drive, and we spotted a mongoose amidst many other things that you'd expect to see on a safari. The sunset drive just made the scenery completely different, and you can just see how gorgeous it is here with the sun setting. But what it did mean was we saw the elephants by night. This was a breeding herd, and there's more stuff on the blog actually, videos and pictures of even tinier baby who was so cute. We then the next day took a walking tour, and this zoom is very long. We weren't very close to the hippos, and nor would we want to be. They are extremely dangerous, and even here you can see they're quite menacing walking towards us. During the course of this safari, before we got to Kruger National Park, we saw a ton of things, but we then went on to another lodge, in fact a tree house nearer to Kruger National Park, which is our base for looking around that area and the park itself.
Hi guys, I am at Mark's camp, and I have for some reason been put into a tree house by myself. That's why this is all mine. You've got, let me switch this over for you. You have got, all of this is mine, so huge. Obviously I've got the lighting and the ceiling fan, which I'm getting blaring away, and this is my favourite bit. My own private balcony to view everything on. I'm really hoping we get something coming down to the watering hole. This place has everything with the exception of lions and elephants.
So before we went into Kruger National Park, we took a look around the actual local grounds, and we saw these two beautiful baby warthogs who just sort of appeared out of nowhere. And then we also saw a group of adult warthogs messing around in the mud, which was really fun. We then went into Kruger National Park, and on that day it rained and rained and rained all morning pretty much and throughout the afternoon. And we were still lucky to see so much stuff. You can see here a croc eating a massive catfish, and we also saw rhino. Now rhino were the things that I came to see. These are 2 white rhino. We saw another one that was even bigger as well. Just such amazing animals. We saw more elephants, 2 bull elephants this time, and you can see at the moment this one just destroying a tree. Now I have to say, the thing that really sort of kept us going through the rain, because sightings were a bit few and far between with the people I was with, some of the guys were amazing at spotting different animals, but everyone sort of just held together through the rain. It was beautiful really for us to be able to get along so well, and it definitely means that I would go on a shared safari again rather than on my own. Back from the Kruger National Park, we went to the Blood River Canyon, which is on the Limpopo River, and then the next day I went to the Lion Park. And you could see white lions there, which are kind of described as being almost like the gingers of the lion race. It's nothing unnatural or wrong with them, they just happen to be a rarer colouring than others. So here you can see they had some cubs as well, which were just like adorable. And then later on I was able to walk with a cheetah. Now the cheetah here is obviously very domesticated. Cheetahs are in fact the most easily domesticated of the big cats, and obviously only in the presence of their trainers would you ever go near an animal like this. I was also able to play with the baby lions that were available there, and those are only raised for zoos, and both when they're there and where they go on to is carefully vetted by the people in charge. So a heads up, this is the end of the cute animal section of the video. I'm now going to move on to Soweto, which I visited for a short amount of time. You can see here it's obviously the other side of the city. There's a lot of poverty here, people living in sort of 1 or 2 room houses with no running water, no electricity. I was lucky enough to be invited in to see one of these houses and met this local woman, and she showed me around and told me how she lives here with her 5 members of her family, and you know, you make a small contribution to help these people when you're there. Last thing I want to talk about is Mandela House and the Apartheid Museum. It was hugely humbling to be there, and I can't do it great justice because I don't have the knowledge or the background in South African history, but you can see why Mandela is so celebrated as leading such an important movement to end something as terrible as apartheid. And you can see the fact that he suffered and struggled. Here you can see a bullet hole in the wall of his house, being attacked in your own home for your own beliefs and trying to do what you think is right, and standing up for that is something that is well deservedly remembered. The Apartheid Museum is absolutely eye-opening. We all get the theory behind apartheid, but to have a better understanding of what it was like to live, it was really eye-opening, like I say. And you could see the lunacy behind all the reasoning for apartheid, and you can see how people, they fought and they gave up their lives and their liberties and so much for equality. And what was really fantastic, that the museum puts across really well, is that when they got their freedom, they not only got it for themselves, they got it for everyone. So they got it for disabled people, they got it for women, they got it for gay people. No one is to be discriminated against because of who they are in South Africa. And that's the constitution that came out of apartheid, the struggle of those people. And I think it's the one thing, if more than anything else, that I take away and I love from South Africa, is their beautifully crafted constitution of equality.